Welcome back to another episode of the YepBoat Podcast. My name is Ben. This is my third attempt of recording this intro. Today we're talking about the meta, because we're always talking about the meta, of course, how things are evolving, what it is like. And then I'll talk about how to get free MMR, because this has been one of the most fun and one of the best metas for me to climb in. And I feel like a lot of people are struggling and are not really grasping what to do. And I've seen a lot of good players actually tank ranks. So I'll try to share with you what I do in order to be able to climb and reach new heights. So hopefully I can help out those who are struggling with what's going on right now. And last but not least, I'll also give you some insight in what I have planned for the future of this channel, of the It's Been 3 to 1 YouTube channel, because I have so many cool ideas, so many things I want to do and talk about. So I want to share with you what's coming, because it's pretty busy right now, and you know, I'm taking one step at a time. But yeah, I want to get you hyped up. Before I fly into all of this though, I want to thank everyone for supporting the streams. The streams have been a lot of fun. I've really been enjoying streaming on YouTube instead of Twitch. So many new faces, and yeah, I plan on streaming a lot more. Basically what you can expect from a stream if you've never been there, I just play the game, you know, so you can ask any questions, you can learn if you want to from the gameplay. I'm 14.4k right now, and yeah, I just play the game, but I have other streams planned that are not just me sitting there playing Battlegrounds. I also want to thank everyone that's been becoming a member, because you guys really help out the channel. Don't forget, my content will always be free, right? All my videos, all my guides, this channel will always be free for you to enjoy. But of course, you can support me by becoming a member. Right now we have 22 members. So thank you to those of you that support and help me out. I also want to give a special shout out to Goody Bag, first guy to join Pogo Elite. Mad lad, what a legend. But yeah, right now if you become a member of Pogo Gang, I have one bonus video already about tilt. So if you want to like learn how to manage tilt and how I manage tilt, and I also post tier lists for members only. Reason why is I get a lot of people asking me about tier lists, but the thing is, this constantly changes. If I make a video on a tier list, in 1 week or 2 weeks I might have to make a new video and then a new video. So on my channel I mainly do like full guides on heroes and stuff like that, so you can form your own opinion on when a hero is good. Like Gendis is good when tokens are in, is good when you want to hit triples. Like you can do a bit of thinking of your own. I'll always give my opinion, but yeah, that's why I do it for members only content, because it changes so much. I don't want to make a video every week. But yeah, enough about that. Thanks again for the support. Let's talk about the meta now. So we've discussed this a lot already. It's a tempo meta. A lot of people say it's slowed down, but games are also faster in a sense. So I don't really know how to describe this meta. A lot of people say it's slowed down, but it does feel like lobbies die sooner. What I think people mean with slowed down is it takes longer for people to get direction and get scaling going. In previous meta, people tripled into Lil Rag and Caligons on turn 8, and then the entire lobby had insane scaling, and then it goes really fast from there. But the early turns, yeah, it just goes really fast, right? People level, hit early direction, but the lobby is more grindy. I feel like people get nuked earlier, like die super early, but the late game is very grindy. Everyone has like counterplay, big scaling, and I think lobbies are actually faster right now if you look just at the turn timer. I could be wrong, but that's how I've been feeling about it. Also, yeah, I added First Lissa, and her videos seem a lot shorter now than in the previous meta, because lobbies are just one faster. Why people say it's slower is because, yeah, it takes longer to do something. You level slower, so you play more for tempo. The reason, and when people play more for tempo, oh, the sentence was hard to say, the lobby does slow down, but people die sooner, which seems counterintuitive. But if everyone starts playing for tempo, maybe if some guy hits a really greedy, like an early brand and stuff like that, he either dies earlier than in the previous meta, because in previous meta there wasn't enough tempo, so he could stay alive and then explode. But if he stays alive, yeah, he's gonna outscale the rest of the lobby, because everyone is playing for tempo, and then everyone dies even sooner. So what you see now is that, yeah, I don't know how else to explain this. It is slower in a sense that it is harder to blow up your board, and therefore games are less grindy but more tempo based, and it is faster in the other sense. I think I did enough explaining. I think I confused too many people. You can call it whatever the hell you want, but people generally either like or dislike this meta heavily. It's not like, I've not seen many people that are just like neutral on this, like, yeah, sure, the meta is fine. I've seen a lot of people have strong opinions on this, because it is one of the most aggressive tempo metas we've had, I feel like. The only other aggressive tempo metas we've had is like demons, because then you have big early weavers, huge stats, and people either go for tempo as well or just take the damage and level up and then die anyway. So right now it is, I think, one of the most tempo metas we've had, and that's also coincidentally the meta that I perform the best in. And I like it because, yeah, I'm decent at it, and I like that decisions matter more. With spells, there was a bit more high roll. And in high roll metas, it is either you hit first or you hit the good stuff and you have crazy games, or you don't and you die early. And people apparently like those metas, because I really dislike those metas because there's so much high roll. But people like that because games are crazier. You have like Golden Caligos and Adina games, then you have a game where you roll double Genie, and then you get like 3 guards. You have games where you have a golden light thing on turn 9. Like, that's really hard to do right now. So games are less interesting in a sense. Games are less like, it's harder to make, for example, a clickbait video of this meta than from previous meta. Previous meta, every game was crazy enough to put on YouTube. Right now, a lot of games are just, oh, I won, and all I did was like play for super hard tempo, phone the brand, and like slowly skill up the board and grind it out to lobby, which isn't as sensational. So I feel like to casual players, the previous high roll meta was more fun. Of course, I'm not 100% sure about that, but generally casual players, which I've discussed before, do prefer a bit of high roll because things are more sensational. Things are crazier, and that makes for good content. While in, yeah, tempo metas, like I said, that's less the case. People play to be strong, and that's just usually the same. So there's less options, I would say. There's less options. You either go for taunt stuff and max stuff in the mid game, or you take a big hit. I've barely seen dragons win lobbies just because they actually die to so much stuff now. I've barely seen elementals take lobbies. Of course, once in a while it still happens, but the frequency is much lower. So lobbies are more won by mid game builds right now, instead of like super strong late game builds. And that is what people dislike. That there's only a couple of compositions you can go right now, and that they're not as explosive. But I like that because decisions do matter more with less high roll. Right now, you need to make sure you know when to level, when to triple, when to go for tempo. Like, your decisions on what you buy in the shop matter more, because previously you could misplay a bit, but if you still roll the double Calig, you're fine. Or if you triple into exactly this unit, you're fine, which is not the case anymore. So that is quickly the meta and why there are such strong opinions on these. If you're in between, if you're like, yeah, sure, the meta is fine, and you're one of the few, I think, with that opinion, but that's fine, of course, as well. Like it or hate it, our metas are going to keep swinging. Maybe in a couple of weeks when a patch hits, I don't know when we get a new patch, but hopefully soon, because things are slowly like getting a bit much of the same. Even though I like it, we need a switch. We just need constantly things to switch up. So yeah. Now let's move on to, the meta is mechs and taunts. So basically you want to play Kirages, Armbringers, stuff like that to just be strong. I don't think I need to explain any of this. I think you've experienced this in your own games already. But in case you haven't played Battlegrounds yet and just tuned in, basically, it's all about hitting the early spikes and then playing the mid-game compositions. But if you're able to hit a brand or a light thing, you can go Menagerie, you can maybe go Murloc. Even Murlocs is okay. I've won games with Murlocs, that's rare. In a no-mech lobby especially, Murlocs is good, but other than that, I don't think Murlocs is in a super good spot, but it was in a better spot now than it was previous meta. So if you like Murlocs, it's also a good time to be alive for you and be playing the game. Now, I also want to talk about nerfs and buffs, because I think it's interesting to think about what units Blizzard might nerf in the upcoming patch and what they might buff. Now, I'd love to hear your opinion down below. Like, let's discuss what you guys would think is going to get buffed and nerfed, because, I mean, you can just make up whatever, right? Everyone can predict nerfs and buffs. Let's see who can get closest. But what I think they're going to nerf is, so mainly the taunt stuff. I think they're not going to touch mechs. Mechs are okay. They can be countered by ghoul, stuff like that. They're definitely going to nerf Armor of Empire. I don't know why they buffed it in the first place. I feel like back on my meta video where I talked about, or the patch video, I mean, where I talked about everything that's new and stuff like that, I told that I didn't like expect or see the arm buff coming. Like, why? Arm of Empire was already a decent unit. Taunt comp was already playable in previous meta to counter all the greedy players and stay alive. Just play Kiraji and Arm of Empire to be strong, right? It wasn't the first place build, but now it actually is. Like, you can get first with Kirajis. So I think they're gonna nerf. I'm not sure about Kiraji, but definitely Arm of Empire. Like, it's not gonna be a permanent buff anymore, or it's gonna be +1 attack instead of +2 attack. I think that would be best. I like it being a permanent buff still, because it makes for a new archetype. I think if it is not a permanent buff, if they're gonna revert the nerf to just being a combat only buff, and then after combat it is gone, Taunt comp might not be an archetype anymore that ever gets late game, because you don't have any scaling. You just spike, and that's it. That's where you cap out, basically. Unless you find Brandon Scavengers to scale up your taunts, which is then the scaling that you need to provide. But right now, yeah, I can just module any mech, put in some Arm of Empires, and keep that for like 5 rounds, and then we have a late game permanent unit, which is the mech. And yeah, Kirajis are a spike. I don't think Kiraji is going to get nerfed. Maybe it's going to be nerfed to a 4 for a 3-3, just the base stats, but I think the effects is going to stay the same. Other than that, I don't think there's heroes that need... I mean, Jandis. Jandis, I don't know why this hero is still in the game. It is so stupidly broken with both tokens in, at least in high ranks. Like, if you just hit a token early game, you have 2 guaranteed triples. You have a stronger board than everyone else, because you can bounce a 1-1 or a 2-1 back for a tier 2 or tier 3 unit. I mean... it's just broken. You can bounce Battle Masters back. With Murlocs, you can bounce a Lookout with Brand back, which is what I did yesterday, and it feels disgusting. I don't know how Jandis is still in the game, but she is. I don't think Pogo should have died for them. I want Jandis to be gone and Pogos to be back. I just miss Pogos. I think Pogos are such a cool unit because it rewards risk, right? You play a 1-1, then you play a 3-3. Very weak on tier 2, but if you do hit the triple, if you stick it, it's like a 12-12, I think. It's a really good mech, basically. And with Bran and stuff like that. Maybe with Arana, it's like still okay. But yeah, Jandis just made Pogos too strong, and they got rid of Pogos instead of Jandis, and Jandis is still an issue. Blizzard, please listen to my call. Bring back Pogo. Kill Jandis. Anyway, besides that, other heroes that are strong. I think Omu is strong, but I think Omu is fine because Omu doesn't have a resource to fight the tempo. I've seen many Omus top 8, myself included. I don't feel like Omu is that consistent anymore. Omu is good if you're able to level properly and keep up with the tempo. But yeah, especially right now, I feel like Omu is... let me check his win rate. I think his win rate is pretty okay. Because it's Omu, of course. He gets 2 gold when he levels. That's just a better Bartendotron. So for top 1%, Omu is now tier 2, not tier 1 anymore. Below George and Akazamzorak. He still has a good placement, but I think he's not that easy of a hero to play. I think he's fine. Katoon, I think Katoon doesn't necessarily need a nerf if the meta shifts. So that's one thing as well. People see strong heroes or compositions or whatever, and they think you should nerf exactly that composition, that hero, or whatever is just overpowered. But sometimes if you just nerf other things that make the meta shift, they're gonna balance out what is broken. For example, in the previous meta elementals, I felt like they had to nerf dragons and elementals because they were just strong. Every lobby was won by dragons and elementals. Instead, they just nerfed Elise. They got rid of prizes, and they introduced more a tempo build. And because of that, all the broken stuff like dragons and elementals now feel actually balanced. They feel fine, just because it was correlated to the one thing. Like there's, yeah, something like that. You get what I'm saying, basically. They don't need to directly nerf or nerf stuff. They can just see what it correlates to and shift the meta that way. Like maybe they just make late game heroes now better, so taunt stuff gets played less. Maybe they don't touch Arm of Empire or Kiraji or all that stuff. And then yeah, they get worse. But that would just be power creep though. I think if you keep doing that, you will keep power creeping up, which I don't like. I mean, we got Jungle back, so I mean, I can't really complain about that. But yeah, I don't see buffs coming, basically. I see a lot of nerfs coming, because last patch they only did buffs. No nerfs. The only nerf was Elise. Besides that, only buffs. I want them to do nerfs this time around, because yeah, power creep. I also quickly want to talk about heroes. So I mean, I talked already about some problematic heroes that I think should be nerfed. But I also want to talk about people playing heroes wrong in this meta. Or actually, that should be for the next topic. Yeah, I'm going to save that for the next topic. Let's move straight into it. How to get free MMR. I'll share with you the secrets that I've been using to just climb like crazy. This has been my best meta so far. In 2 days of streaming, like over 4 hours of stream, I never got a bottom 4. I think I got like 1 bottom 4 at the end because I started memeing around. But yeah, 4 hours straight of top 4s into another day of 4 hours straight top 4s to my peak, which is top 50 EU, 40.4k MMR. Insane. And I feel like I'm not even trying. And the secret to this is, so basically, if you're having trouble, I'm watching other streamers as well. I watch other people play, and I notice that the big mistake why people lose MMR is because they still haven't adapted what is going on right now. They still believe in what used to be good for the longest period of time, which is the early Bran, which is the early Kalag. Sure, those are still okay, but you have either a first place or an 8th place. So some games you get the first, some games you get the 8th, and if you're at high MMR, you're always gonna lose more MMR for 8th and first, so naturally you're gonna drop down. And I feel like you're gonna get more 8th and first places in those cases just because there's so much tempo. Also hero options. I see people taking greedier heroes still a lot. Like people barely play Greybow. I think Greybow is tier 1. I think Greybow is one of the strongest heroes if you just force max and taunts, just hard force it. I mean, of course it's bad to hard force, but I think that's an exception. There's heroes that are exceptions. For example, Maleficent right now, you can also just hard force max and have a top 4. Deathwing, I don't see any Deathwings. I picked him once because I wanted to try him out, and I hard forced max with Jungbot. I got a 2nd place or a 1st place, I don't remember, with a golden Jungbot Deathwing build. I had no scaling, no Brand, no Lightfang, no nothing. I just had Leapers, Deflectable, Menaces, Eggs, Modules. That's it. So even without scaling, you can easily get top 3. So experiment with more tempo heroes, experiment with heroes that could force stuff on tier 3 and tier 4. Play safe. Like, people want to triple into 5s and 6 drops. I think how you should look at it now is previous meta, you just had a triple in your shop, you freeze it, you level, sell your board, get an early 5 or 6. What I prefer to do right now is hit my triple earlier. Just take the triple and be strong, either in a tier 4 or tier 5 unit. You don't really go for tier 3s unless it's turn 3. The triple into an early tier 4 or 5. And then I just use that tempo and the momentum that I got from that early spike to get really strong and then level up. And then on tier 5, you can roll the tier 5 units. Sure, it's like 2 turns later that you get your tier 5 unit, but you're able to save health, level up, be strong, and then find scaling a bit later on, but the meta is slowed down anyway, right? So I prefer tripling early, get strong, and then leveling, and then finding the good units, instead of finding the good units earlier, but sacrificing so much health, so much tempo, and then just dying. Another thing is I always set myself up for Menagerie at taunt comp, because Menagerie, of course, you can play it with any hero, any units. It's always good in any meta to set up for Menagerie, because if you just hit a Bran, a Lightfang, a Jug, it's always good value. And Mitrex, like Mitrex is actually good. I once took a Mitrex over a Bran and a Lightfang, just because it is a big body, which is good. Like you could actually just take Mitrex now over Lightfang sometimes, I think, if you don't have good Menagerie units yet to buff, right? What else was I gonna say? I don't remember. Oh, Reno. Reno is a very interesting hero, because I feel like Reno was good last meta, because you can just golden a Bran or a Lightfang, yeah, or a Kalag and win the lobby, which is still possible, but people don't think about tempo hero powers enough. I think you could hero power stuff on tier 2. I haven't tried it myself yet because I have not been put in that situation, but I remember doing it in like 2 or 3 metas ago or months ago, where I had a Molten Rock and a Party Elemental in my shop, and I just hero powered Party Elemental and played Molten Rock. So I have a golden Party Elemental on turn 3 with a Molten Rock. Easiest top 3 of my life, right? Or even top 2, I don't remember. I think you could still do that, honestly. Of course, only if you have such a good shop, and in that example. You could hero power an early Iron Sensei. Try and hero power Kiraji. Whenever I see a Kiraji and have a couple taunts, I just hero power it as Reno, because I know I'm just gonna kill people. And by playing for such hard tempo, you're gonna kill people before they get strong. Because people are like, oh, but if you play for tempo, you get outscaled late game. You die to the other high rollers, right? Because you don't have the scaling. But if you kill them before they get to their scaling or they get their high roll, then they don't have a chance. But I have killed dragon players with Nadina when playing Max, because I've been playing Max for like 5 rounds straight. They found Ka like 2 turns ago. They haven't been able to scale enough, and my stupid Arm of Empire put my Max to high enough attack to value trade everything. Okay, so I mean, you basically get what I'm saying. I feel like I'm rambling on at this point, but I really want to get my point across to hopefully convince people to take different lines and see new units in a different line. If you've never taken Arm of Empire or done an Arm of Empire mech build, like taunting your deflectobots, putting them in the back, having Arm of Empires in, do it and just experience it for yourself. Of course, it's not always gonna work, you know. You can always low roll, but still, it seems like the most consistent thing I've been able to do. And yeah, it's not like I'm doing this in Dumpster. Right, it is on EU though. I've heard that EU and NA metas are very different. I haven't played on an EU oh my god, English is hard today. I haven't played on NA yet in this meta, so I don't know what it is like on NA. Apparently it's very different. Of course, from what I've heard, I'm not entirely sure, but on EU so far, this seems to do the trick for me. And that is about it on how I've been able to climb, and I hope that it inspires you as well to hopefully shift and adapt to this meta while you still can before the patches here, because I believe this is just free MMR for those that are able to abuse it. Last thing that I want to talk about is future of the channel. So what is coming for this YouTube, and I'm very excited about stuff like this because I'm streaming a lot now on YouTube. Right now, like I said and mentioned, it's just games, so it's just me playing Battlegrounds, answering questions, explaining the game basically and what I do. But I also have special streams planned, so I'm still brainstorming it all out, but I want to do like live BG reviews or viewer lobbies where I play with you guys and maybe I can give some commentary, or viewer tournaments. I want to set up small tournaments as well, where I can spectate you guys play, and we can do special rules like don't pick up these units, or everyone has to power level to tier 6, or I don't know yet, just brainstorming, but I have a lot of cool ideas. Or where maybe a live YepBoat episode, maybe I just record these live and I can answer questions as well from this stream. I also want to do more co-ops. I really like playing games with other creators. Obviously, I feel like in Battlegrounds right now is everyone is focused on their rank and just playing solo. I think it would be cool to do co-ops, maybe even with chat, maybe with you guys. Maybe you guys behind the camera are able to join for a Discord call and just play some games, stuff like that. Also schedules. I've had a lot of people ask me about a set schedule when I stream, when I upload videos, when I do this. Right now I don't have a schedule because everything is all over the place. I might be moving out soon as well. So I plan on having a set start time for my streams. I might stream 3 or 4 times a week at set times. I don't have a schedule yet, so if you want to catch my streams, you can also click the bell to be notified if you want to. So yeah, right now everything is a bit all over the place. I do upload always 5 p.m. CET. I currently don't have set upload dates yet, but I might also do that, like upload at least 3 times a week, stuff like that. Yeah, that's pretty much all I had to talk about. It's a shorter episode, I noticed, but yeah, there was not that much going on, right? Like Blizzard hasn't given us anything like talking about buffs or Quillboar's new tribe, or about the patch. The meta has not evolved too much. Like the meta has stayed very consistent so far, which is interesting because usually at the start of a meta we have like this really aggressive period of time, and then it usually goes greedier and things do balance out. But and because the meta counters itself very often, in a greedy meta there's going to be tempo stuff to counter it out, but right now it just seems like things are staying the same. So I hope we do get a patch soon. And that's everything that I had to discuss here. Thank you guys so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like. Of course, it takes 1 second if you want to support the show. Subscribe if you want to catch more of these. Also have an entire playlist of YepBoat episodes probably popping on the screen soon if you want to see an old episode or stuff like that. Alright, take care. Thanks for watching. Have a good day, and good luck on the Battlegrounds.